All right. So just taking a moment to slow down. Before we go too deeply in here, I want to ask if I've got my door open for it's just really nice air. Are you guys hearing the outside sounds or is it okay? Yes or no? It's okay. Okay. So just shifting to the inside, slowing down. To inviting yourself to let everything come to a halt for this time. Slowing way down. And with the invitation, you can match the breath, just doing deliberately long, slow breaths, or you can do the 4-part breath where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and then just void, nothing for 4. Or your own variation of slowing down. We have to slow down enough to feel our connection with ourselves and each other, the divine. So we're slowing down and then we invite a softening. We're in a safe container with like-minded people. It's okay to let down a little bit. So slowing down and softening. Finding peace at the center of yourself. Moving towards the part of you that is always just fine. That peaceful center. And we're going to work again in that portal of change. Whatever that means for you today. Just noticing that portal of change that we're in. And we're working with this space that is being defined by the cosmos. The 2 eclipses. The lunar that was on the 26th in Sagittarius and the solar eclipse in Gemini on June 10th. And again, you don't have to understand the details. Just notice change. Notice a arc of change. Or perhaps you do really understand this transit and are intimate with it. There's Geminis and Sagittariuses in this group. Some of you may be feeling it more strongly. And to that mix, we can add that Mars and Venus are now in Cancer. So this is emotional. This is a very emotional experience. And we also have a Mercury retrograde squaring Neptune. Just adding that in. For me, that means making sure what I'm feeling is actually tied to something that is true. Is it true? Before I go deep into my feelings, is it true, the thing I'm responding to? So that's just a bit of orientation, attunement to the cosmos. And of course, we're always in change. You might be in your own cycle, your own wave that is different than the one I'm pointing to. That's fine. You might be in a larger cycle. You are in a larger cycle, but we're just orienting here. And of course, you have many, many, many cycles happening at once. As a female bodied person, you're going to be in multiple cycles. Of course, the soul level, transiting through this life, this body, going through this lifetime, all the phases of being a woman, this month. Just let yourself feel your deep knowing, your deep wisdom about change. You do it all the time. You know how it's innate. Just notice what wisdom comes up for you about your relationship to cycles of change. And now we're tilting towards the solar eclipse. So we're beginning to feel the strengthening of the new, or the seed coming through the surface. The new is becoming clear, even as the old is falling away. So we want to meet this current process with courage, responsiveness, while we're humble and surrendering to the power. See yourself as a pilgrim engaging in your own journey here, whatever cycle you're attuning with. Just let yourself take that bird's eye view of the change that you're in. Keep softening as you bring to mind the arc of your journey. You might see it as an image, like a labyrinth or a wave. You might understand it as a process, like death or birth, or both. You might just feel it or hear its words or see its colors, but let yourself see your journey. And see if you can soften and even enjoy what you're seeing and experiencing. See where you can find pleasure in your own journey. Perhaps there's a beautiful color or a sound or a feeling in your body that you can tune to. While at the same time honoring and noticing any restrictions, any resistance, hold it all. They exist together. Restriction and pleasure can exist together. And as you're holding that larger view, let yourself locate where you are now. In whatever cycle you're taking a look at, locate yourself in that arc right now. Invite where you are now to reveal itself to you in images, intuitions, words. And in the now, there will be things falling away and also new aspects coming into your awareness. Expand into your consciousness, that miracle of consciousness. While you just hold steady in the now and breathing that change point in. So we're changing with each breath. In this arc of change that we're in with the eclipses, we're at the transition point where we're tipping towards the new. Some of you have given birth, some of you have birthed really amazing creative projects in the world. Just remember, if you can, that transition moment where the maiden is falling away and the mother is being born as her child is being born. It's dynamic and powerful, completely out of our control. It's literally happening through us. Find that surrender point, that moment, that point where there's nothing to do but allow. Surrendering and receiving, because to do anything else brings more pain. This transition point is at the heart of our transformative process. Staying connected to the breath, let each breath move you forward and let go. Just like when you're having contractions, you know that you're moving forward, and on the out breath, you know that you have to let go and get present for the next one. So that's how we breathe the change in. And let's go ahead and resource ourselves for where we are on our journey. Calling to you 2 or 3 resources that you know you need for this moment in your process. This is like your team, your inner and outer support team. Just go with whatever arises. Calling to you the things that you trust deeply to guide you, the qualities that you're willing to receive and cultivate. And I'll share mine and I'll name them. And as I'm going through them, you can work with yours. You don't have to work with mine, but I'm going to offer a few that I think are helpful for where we are in the journey. Just imagine that you could gather those resources and breathe in the resources And then on the out breath, letting go any restrictions you have towards being resourced. So we're receiving. So my three are courage, flexibility, and humility. Those are the three qualities that I'm very consciously cultivating. And like I said, you'll have your own. It's very important to stick with yours. And if you resonate with what I'm saying, please use mine too. I do not own any of those. So let's start with our first resource. So we're locating ourselves in the change process. We're calling in the new, letting go of the old. We're surrendered. And now we're going to resource ourselves. So the first one, courage, just locating that within. Taking a moment to really feel and recall a time in your life's journey where you had the resource that you're working with and you used it wisely. Let's bring it into your system. Open your senses to that experience where you held that resource you're working with. And just feel it. For me, it's feeling the quality of courage at a pivotal moment. And I knew I was really willing to meet life on its own terms with power and strength and fire. Just holding that courage or that quality you're working with steady. How can you bring it into the now? Are there parts of your body that are ready to receive it? Does your mind need to shift a little bit to receive it? Can you just let go and let it come in and fill the empty spaces? Just receiving the resource that you have called forward. Bringing it in, expanding and holding steady. So we're expanding, but we're not getting dysregulated. We're staying right at that growth edge of expansion. So if you feel nauseous or spacey, dial it back a little bit. You want to be able to receive it. Conversely, if you're feeling heavy or sleepy, dial that back a little bit and see if you can just be in that perfect window with your resource. And to that, we will add calling the second resource in. So we're going to resource ourselves, holding the first steady, and we're going to call a second resource. Just notice where it comes. Could be beside you, in you, around you. So I'm going to call flexibility. So I've got courage, and to that, I'm adding flexibility. To me, that means a willingness to be responsive to life as it comes up, as it arises, being able to be resilient and responsive. Trying new approaches, new positions, new tools, new mindsets, course correcting. So call your resource. Notice what it means to you. And then call to mind a time where you worked beautifully with that same resource. And let all of your senses remember that time. What was going on? how it smelled, how it felt, what you heard. When you have a really felt sense of it, go ahead and invite it in, making room for that second resource. You're going to need to expand a little to do so. As you expand, things fall away. Breathing in that resource. So for me, it's flexibility. The image is a willow tree, trying to match her flexibility. On the out breath, I'm letting go of any stiffness, rigidity, need to control. So you'll have your own version with your resource. So feeling your second resource alongside your, or in combination with your first resource. So I've got courage and flexibility. And now I'm going to open to my third resource and ask it to come in. So just notice what your third resource is. Being deliberate with your choice. You have power to choose what you're going to cultivate in the face of the changes. So my third is humility. Notice what yours is. So for me, that means being willing to be in life, in awe of life, respecting life, bowing to the mystery, honoring all that has come before, feeling the vastness of life and the tininess of myself. The image I have is that of standing on a cliff in Colorado, just noticing all of the ancient dwellings and feeling how significant and insignificant I truly am. So I'm going to work to bring that feeling, those images in now. So use your resource, going to a time when you really knew that resource well. Letting those images and feelings and senses open to that resource. Softening here and opening even more. As you bring that third resource into your body and mind and emotions. So you've got your third, your second, your first. Now just take a minute to let yourself be completely in those resources, relaxed. For a minute, just feel that you have everything you need. There's nothing to figure out or chase or force. Simply to breathe the resources in and out. At this change point, just letting go of anything that you need to let go of to get into alignment with yourself in this change. Become one with what is coming through you. Let this change take you where it needs to take you. And you can stay here, and I'll offer another level, not in terms of better or more advanced, but there's another opportunity always to shift into the larger self, being willing to be a vessel for the change that is coming through. Offering yourself to this force as a vehicle for its manifestation, a channel for the changes that need to take place. A way for consciousness to manifest on this plane, not by directing it, by opening to it, offering yourself for the highest outcome. And when you do that, you'll immediately feel many attachments or aversions, and you can just keep offering that. So we're dedicating our personal practice for the benefit of all beings. And then we'll come back together, and I will put our prayer into the chat. There it is. All right. And we'll do that 3 times. I'm keeping the same prayer because I usually change it monthly, but I feel like this is still the right one.
What page is it in the book? I prefer to, because I can't.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have the book with me, so I can send that to you later. So this is from Tosha Silver Change Me Prayers, which I love. They're universal. All right. So here we go. Let's unmute so we can hear each other's voices. So it jumps around, and sometimes you'll be highlighted, and just feel free to speak loudly if you want to, or softly if you want to. But I'd like to hear more voices than mine. Okay, so here we go. Change me, divine beloved, into one
who's wildly open to the new. Grant me the willingness to experiment and play. Free me from the rigid patterns that no longer serve.
Let me feel adventurous and spontaneous.
Knowing that the more I open to life, the more life opens to me.
All right, 2 more times. Change me, divine beloved.
The one who is wildly open to the new. Grant me the willingness to experiment and play. Free me from rigid patterns that no longer serve. Let me feel adventurous and spontaneous. Knowing that the more I open to life, the more life opens to me.
Change me, divine beloved, into one who is
wildly open to the new. Grant me the willingness to experiment and play.
From rigid patterns.
Free me from the rigid patterns that no longer serve.
Let me feel
Let
feel
me
Feel
feel
adventurous and spontaneous,
knowing
knowing that
I
the more
feel
I'm open to
life
life, the more life
more life
opens to me.
opens
me.
to me.
Very nice. Hmm. Okay. And we'll move into our offerings. Everyone here knows what that means, so I won't give my talk. Just go ahead and hop on in with your offerings, your shares that are meant to resource further the work that we're doing.
I
Anyone
have
like-
a reading
Okay.
from Rumi. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of stress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without pain. I understand that what I want also wants me, is looking for me and attracting me. There is a great secret here for anyone who can grasp it.
Mm-hmm. So just notice if there's any part of you that is really feeling that and wanting it, and just let it come in. And if it isn't for you, you can just release it, not participate with it. It's beautiful. What's the name of that?
It's just a quote
Nancy?
from Rumi. I
So
don't
pretty, beautiful. Okay. All right.
I have I can do one it's for a poem by Diane Croft. Do not speak. I want to sink into the silence that is your hand. It holds me like an anchor drops to sleep inside coral reefs. Waves move as I sit perfectly still on this bench by your left side.
Hmm. Just receiving those words from Diane Croft. Is there a name for that poem?
It's called Stone, and it's in a book called The Unseen Partner.
Lovely. I've never seen that before. Beautiful. Thank you, Joanne.
I have something, but it's not a poem. It's more of a suggestion. Herbalists say that the plants that grow here in our space are the plants we most need. So I suggest that you go on a plant walk in your yard and see if you can identify the plants that have just volunteered, that have just shown up, and look up their symbolism and their meaning, because there'll be something there for you. I did this over the weekend in my yard, and there is an absolute circle around my house of 5 or 6 different weeds, multiple ones, and every one of them is about protection. So it's telling me that loudly and clearly that this land is supporting me, and protecting me. So I think it would be interesting for each of you to maybe take this suggestion and check out what your land is trying to tell you. Or not.
So, thank you, Patrice. That's a teaching that you taught me. I've used it, and absolutely part of the sharing is your own gifts and your own wisdom. Patrice is a really amazing herbalist. I mean, among other things. But this is a really interesting teaching, and it taps us into the resourcing that we have right here. Not the ones we go by, but these plants that are volunteering to be our support system. So it's pretty powerful. I've got milkweed everywhere.
That's awesome. I've got, I have this massive nettle that is perfectly planting itself between the street and the front door of my house. And nettle is about boundaries and about protection. I have tons of St. John's wort in a circle around the house. I have, several other plants that are, yarrow showing up all over the place. It's all about protection and boundaries and support for me, and that's really what I need the most right now, because my my three are courage, and my third one is transformation, and the middle one is being willing to change.
Perfect.
And knowing that the land is supporting me in all of those things has brought me great comfort.
So just feeling the intelligence of the plant world, which, I mean, that could be a whole thing, but just know that there is so much intelligence that is available for us that we can receive. Thank you, Patrice. My dog is snoring. I don't know if you guys can hear him. I hope not. It's not me. I'm just going to share one little thing that happened this morning on my walk. I get up really early, as some of you know, and I was out. It was right when day was turning and day was coming, and we were walking, my dog and I, and there, right beside us, like literally, was this coyote. And I had been preparing for our work, and I'll go out into the world and just see if there's anything else as I'm tuning while I'm walking that, comes up, because I usually know that's something to bring in. So there was coyote. Coyote was amazing. Didn't move, just kept doing what she or he was doing. And yeah, I really felt that the message was, you're on the right path, just lighten up a little and don't take it all so seriously. So I'm offering that into this change process. I can get really serious with this stuff, but it is nice to consider that it's just that we could lighten it up a bit, right? Have some fun. We could laugh. We could enjoy, we could take pleasure. So I'm offering you the coyote teaching. It was pretty amazing.
I'd love to offer a way of journaling that I'm working with right now. Many of you have probably heard of it before, but I've been making I have just this blank journal, and I've been doing a wheel of the year journal, where every full moon, new moon, holiday that I celebrate, I make just a small entry, and I include what season it is, what plants I've been noticing, the quality of light, what the weather has been, dreams I've been having, feelings that have been coming up. If there's something that's coming in, if there's something that's going, and it's a nice structure for me, rather than just kind of writing as I feel like it. And it's interesting for me because I'm traveling. I think if you're in one place, it's nice because then you're left with kind of a map of the seasons of your place with the light and the plants and everything like that. But I'm doing it even though I'm traveling, and I've just found it to be a really helpful way of journaling during changes and the year.
Would you say again what you're tracking?
Yeah. So I do it on moons or holidays. So I chose new moon, full moon, and any holiday that's important to me. And then I track what season it is, what plants I've been noticing, and kind of what they're doing. So like when the dandelion leaves were first out, and then when I was seeing the flowers, things like that. The quality of light, where the light is falling on the house or on the land, the weather that's been happening, dreams that I've had, and feelings that have been coming up, and then anything that's being released, coming in, any changes like that that I'm noticing.
Amazing. Katie just gave everyone a little map. So just notice how everyone's wisdom comes together. There's no right way to practice. There's no right way to be in connection. Nobody can tell you what's right or wrong. That's all just bullshit. So you get to do it your own way. And there's so much wisdom when you step into your own way. Thank you, Katie. Happy birthday. I have to say it.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, I wanted to bring in some song.
Great.
So in the chat, I posted the lyrics here, and I also posted a link to Spotify. Do you happen to have Spotify on your computer, Catherine?
I do.
Oh, can you click on that link and see if it works? Because then you could play the song and we could sing along. And then, you know, when you feel called, just stop it. This is the same, the pieces that I bring to sing are a lot of them are from Karen Drucker. And I like it because it just repeats really simple things. So it's easy to join in. And I just have to say, like, the idea of doing a retreat with this group is like phenomenal to me. I have a dance practice. So for me, moving energy through dance and a template there that takes in a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, intention and community, and moves the energy through being together in dance. So it's just so juicy to like hear the journaling practice and the herb practice and like all these gifts that everyone brings, and the idea of like circling up in person and being able to practice some of our different practices together. So yay.
I'm trying to open it, but it's...
Well, you could just search in the stillness and it'll come up, Karen Drucker, and then you could just play. And then we can sing along like we did with the prayer. That would be great. And I too am feeling the joy and the uppityness. I haven't gotten there with what I've been bringing yet, but I will. I've been listening to some awesome Mary J. Blige that are so fun to sing and dance to. So I will start.
Into or in the stillness?
In the stillness.
Huh. I don't know why it's not coming up. My
Jess, why didn't you play it from your Spotify?
Because I'm lame and haven't loaded. Well, let me restate that. I have not uploaded Spotify to my laptop, and my husband, who I'm separated from, has that password.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is peace.
probably good, Catherine.
Okay, I was getting into
In the
it.
stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace.
Is that enough?
Yeah. Well, it's up to you, but I'm just noticing the time and people's schedules.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
but yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else want to make an offering to the group, for the group, with the group?
I have something. I have actually two things, so I don't know if I choose or just spit them both out. What do you think?
Whatever you'd like.
All right, so first was the poem, which is kind of not heavy, but heavier. So